Welcome to another episode of London Horse Sports. I'm joined today with Momo La Framboise. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
For the listeners who don't know who you are, can you give us a bit of a background, or what would you ask or tell somebody at a cocktail party who you are?
Well, I'm from a very famous eventing family. La Framboise, we had a training center outside of Ottawa, and we've been doing high-level eventing for 40 years, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, so what I do now is I train horses and people and coach to lower levels to upper levels in eventing.
And you're a level 3 certified coach, right?
I am a level 3 certified coach, and I have ridden all over Europe in international competition.
Do you have a favorite country that you rode in?
Oh, I think Holland, Lemulin was one of my favorite European events because the people there are really fun, and the event, they just put on a really good horse show with lots of tents and people, and it's great.
A very social event over there, I hear.
Yes, it's very social. Most of them are over there, but...
In Europe?
Yeah.
Is that maybe something we can do here in Canada to make our events a little more fun and exciting?
Well, the Rolex does a pretty good job of it, but that's only one in North America, whereas in Europe, there's one in every country, and you're only a couple hours apart, right?
Right.
You just need the volume. You need the people.
Mm-hmm.
And we just don't... We're so few numbers in such a large space, so it's harder.
And why teaching? What made you first like the teaching part of eventing?
I think it grew. It just became a natural progression from to be able to do this sport. You can't just do it full time. It costs money.
Mm-hmm.
So you end up having to make a living at it as well. And I think some people are more natural to it. I came quite natural to coaching and teaching. So.
And you started at the age 12?
Well, I used to do up-down lessons with the little kids when I was quite young, so sort of 12, 15, somewhere in there.
Volunteer, or were you kind of, the family expected you to?
Oh, no, we all had our jobs.
Yeah.
So, no, we all had to work, bring in the hay, teach, ride, train.
And it's always been eventing?
Well, no, most of us started in the 100-jumper world.
Okay.
And basics were there as well. We pretty much start young horses in that ring as well.
Okay.
So, but it's sort of a stepping stone to before you go to eventing. So,
can you tell me about your first horse?
The very first horse I had was a horse called Kinburn, and if I had him now, I would have. He's the first horse you learn all your bumps and bruises on. So he was my learning horse, and he was he was a thoroughbred, never raced, but he was just a lovely horse. So Ian Miller wanted him as a jumper, and Randy Roy wanted him as a hunter.
And you took him eventing?
And yes, he ended up eventing. And then when I took a couple of years away from riding and went over to Europe, or from the farm, he stayed back, and my sisters took him to Young Riders, and one of them won the Young Rider 1 star on him. He was a super horse.
I'm not very familiar with the Young Riders program. Can you explain that a little bit for me?
It's a really great program. It mimics international competition at under 21 years of age.
Okay.
There's 2 separate levels. There's the preliminary level when you have to be 18 years or younger. And then there's an intermediate level, which is 21 years and under. And so it's quite competitive, and the whole of Ontario is allowed to present 1 team, which is 4 riders and 2 individuals. So if you were to look at all the prelim horses, young riders in this province, it's pretty tough, and it's hard to get on the team. So for them to get there and do well is fantastic. And each province is allowed a team, but we never have more than Ontario and a few singles in different provinces.
Okay.
And they go down to the States and they compete with all the areas in the States. So they were probably in 10 or 12 teams altogether. And it's once a year, held in Lexington, Kentucky. And it's a super experience for the kids because they learn to be to deal with all the pressures that you would at an international competition or national team selection.
Oh, so it's a good practice at a young age.
Yeah, it is super. Yeah.
Have you... Okay, so you've started teaching at age 12, and then what age were you when you went over to Europe?
When I went to Europe the first time, I was 29.
Okay.
And, trying to remember. Magnus went to Lemuelen, but I think I went to Bokelo, Holland, I think the year before.
I'm stretching your memory, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. 28, 29, somewhere in between then and the late 30s, I was in Europe. I think the last time I was there was 92.
92. Would you like to go back?
Yeah, that would be fun.
So what are you doing today then to train? Are you riding as well as teaching, or are you training horses?
I try to only own one horse at a time because it's too expensive.
Okay.
And if I had all the money in the world, I wouldn't have to sell them. But you have to make a living. So I end up getting them to the upper levels and then sell them due to the fact that I need money, right?
Yeah, so you can buy another youngster to bring
That's
up.
right. So that's kind of the process of the survival in this discipline. I mean, if you could have a sponsor and I did all that, but I have found that as I get older, it's more of a hassle to have to work on getting a sponsor.
To go out and find them?
Yeah.
It's a lot of
and
hassle.
It's a very cellular life. Like to do the top level, you pretty well have to be riding full time. Right?
Okay.
So to coach and do that and ride, it's hard to do it.
Who's your current horse?
I have a horse called Timaru,
Okay.
who's just upgraded to intermediate, and he's a lovely horse. And if I didn't have to, I wouldn't, but he is for sale.
He's for sale. What breed is he?
He's a thoroughbred.
He's thoroughbred as well.
Yes.
So you always had thoroughbreds?
No, I've actually ridden quite a few mixed, but my true love is actually in the thoroughbred.
You love thoroughbreds,
yeah.
okay.
They've got such heart, and when you have to gallop something, they can gallop it.
Yeah, exactly. So how old is Timaru now?
Timaru's 10.
He's 10, and he's just starting intermediate?
He just started intermediate this year.
And so what type of events or shows are you planning to take him to next?
We're actually leaving on Wednesday to go down to Virginia horse trials, and he'll do an intermediate down there. It's the last one of the year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you train in Aiken as well?
Yes. January we go down to Aiken, South Carolina, and we're down there for 3 months.
Very good. Do you have a stable out there that you train at? Or do you...
I rent a stable down there with an apartment, and
I see.
Most of the clients come down with me that are at my farm.
From Ontario?
Yeah.
They go down with you to the warmer weather and
Yeah.
show the circuit
their
there?
horses come down, and they come down intermittently.
Okay.
But, yeah.
So that's 3 months.
And then the young riders, there's 2 or 3 young riders that'll be coming down with me this year.
Oh,
which
good.
is great, yeah.
What's their names?
Brody Seabrook is my present working student, and he's on a training horse, and he'll want to upgrade to prelim.
Mm-hmm.
And I have another girl called Dominique Boucher, who's from Ottawa area,
Okay.
and she's on a horse, a lovely thoroughbred, that she would like to do the same, training to prelim. And then Emma Green, who's done extremely well on a couple of horses and has ridden at the young rider level already, and for Ontario, is coming down with 3 horses. So it'll be a great group of kids.
Yeah, busy winter.
Yeah, it's super.
Beats the snow.
Exactly. Although we did have snow the last couple of years in Aiken, but
Oh, really?
we didn't have -40. We had -5.
No, that's true. Last winter was pretty cold.
Yeah.
So do you spend all your summers up here in Ontario?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to be at the Kentucky 3-day event next year?
Well, I have been there for the last 2 years coaching another client of mine called Rachel McDonough,
Okay.
who got to the 4-star level on an off-the-track thoroughbred again.
Wow.
And she has done extremely well. And if she's going next year, if she's able to get there again next year, then I will more than likely be there. Yeah.
So where can we follow you online, and where are you going to be? Some of us fans that want to watch you ride.
La Framboise Eventing is a Facebook site that one of my clients set up, because I'm not that computer literate. So she's been posting results and activities that the team have been doing in the last couple of months.
Very good.
So that should be continuing through this winter in Aitkin.
And that again is La Framboise Eventing
Yes.
on Facebook.
On Facebook.
Right. Thank you so much for sitting down with me.
No, you're very welcome. Thank you.